start recording.
All right.
So we'll just get straight into it. Thank you for doing this. If you don't mind just telling us your first name.
Darell.
Awesome. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about your childhood?
I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, and after my parents separated up, since my parents didn't have their fathers in their life, um, they decided to agree with each other to have me live with my dad, and I moved to San Diego. So from that time on, I was living with my dad in San Diego before he went to jail. So yeah, it was just a lot of things I like to redact to keep from like talking about because of the trauma or stuff like that. But it was different. I had got a lot of good memories from it, and my parents, they were good parents. Regardless of what happened, they were good parents. But yeah,
Did you have any dreams as a kid growing up as to what you wanted to be?
I wanted to join the army. That's what I wanted to do. I saw Black Hawk Down, the documentaries about the battle in Somalia, and from there, it just sparked my interest in the armed forces, and that's what I wanted to do.
Would you mind telling us a little bit more about your relationship with your dad and how he made you feel in general?
We're still in contact to this day, regardless of what he did. He did what he had to do to provide for me. He was a kingpin, so that fast money, it was nice to everybody else, but to me it was seeing my dad go away to help other people in a way.
How much time did he get?
Yeah, 14 years.
How old were you when he went to prison?
I was 7 till I was 21. I was still in the army at the time.
How was that for you?
It was difficult. I had to move back to Arkansas with my mom, and there was a lot of stuff going on with the guy she was with, and her not being able to keep a job with 5 kids, and there's a lot of struggles going on. So that's why I chose to join, mainly to get away from that lifestyle. I was tired of struggling.
Did you ever visit your dad in prison?
No, I never got a chance to. My mom really didn't. She kept me from speaking to my dad's side of the family due to their falling out.
Did you get to see him when he got out?
Yeah, so I was doing some pre-deployment training when he got out, and from there, I went to visit home for holiday block leave, and I got to see him for the first time since I was 7. Mentally, I still feel like a kid. So riding with him in his car, I still feel like a kid. I had to look down to make sure like my feet are touching the ground. Like when he left, my feet wasn't touching the ground when I was riding with him. So mentally, I still feel like a kid around him because that's when he left. But I'm his number 2 since I'm a junior, and I still love him because I know what he did was for the good because he took care of a lot of people.
Talk about your relationship with your mom and how that felt.
My mom, we still have a pretty decent relationship. However, a few years back, she became homeless, and I think some other stuff is going on that's keeping her in that position. So we don't really mental stuff, drugs, and from what I've been told, and I feel like she's gotten comfortable this past 7 years in that lifestyle. So it's hard to get her in a position to help her out, get her on her feet, and we don't really talk like we used to. So it's tough with that.
How do you deal with that?
I really don't know how to deal with it. This is my mom. Yeah, any man, as being a lover of their mother, they feel like that they should be able to take care of their mother when they get to a certain position of adulthood, and the fact that I can't help her out or get her on her feet eats me up.
What's the biggest thing you learned from your parents, good or bad?
to love, to be honest. Um, my parents, they did what they had to do to take care of me, and they made sure I knew what I had to do to take care of others.
Could you tell us about your first love and the emotions that you felt with it? So it's whatever you associate as your first love.
My first love? My first love is honestly my wife. And I associate her with our first child together. So every time I see her, I know that the unity between me and her mother and my daughter's mother it was something genuine. And yeah.
How did that feel? How did it feel when you first had that feeling?
It was different. I knew I was giving my life to somebody because I knew I wanted to be with her. I knew I wanted to spend my life with her, so it was a different feeling. It's hard to describe that feeling, that love.
Briefly, as best as you can.
Briefly. It's a wonderful feeling. It's wonderful.
Can
Priceless.
you tell? Yeah, wonderful's good.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your first loss or heartbreak and how that felt? Same, whatever you associate with that too.
Yeah, losing my sister to domestic violence. Her boyfriend beat her to death, and I didn't know until 2 weeks after her funeral because my mom wouldn't let me speak to my dad's side of the family. So hearing about that really messed me up, and it still messes me up to this day.
How old were you?
I was 16.
Do you do anything actively to help, given those past traumas, to help the pain or whatever emotions rise up? Do you do anything actively to help those emotions just pass through, or how does that work for you? How's that process of just living life with those?
It's difficult because all of the things I've experienced, to include abuse, is something I didn't really want to talk about. My sister was there. She was somebody that would make me feel better when she would witness certain things, and she was the definition of a big sister. And she looked out, and not having her, not being able to talk to her, really messes with me. It's really hard to do anything to try to get over that. I just gotta let life be life, because it was in the past, but it still damages me.
Who first taught you what love is and how?
My dad, because he was explaining, as a young child, I can still remember I was still wearing Pampers. He was explaining what he did for me because he loved me, because he was my dad, and how I shouldn't let anyone come in between that because of some issues he was dealing with my mom. So he was explaining that to me. It's hard to really go back into that, but he just showed me better than he could tell me. It's the best way I can put it.
How did that showing look like?
Him teaching me how to be a man at a young age.
Such as?
How to stand up for myself. How to clean. How to be presentable. How to look out for people. And how to love others.
What's love to you?
Love is it's infinite to me. It can mean a lot of things. It just, to me, it's like integrity. You love somebody. If you say you love somebody, you gotta mean it. You gotta show it better than you can tell them. Your actions have to speak louder than your words. You have to be there for them when they're down. You have to be there for them when they can't provide for themselves, or when they just need help simply.
How's loving yourself? How do you define that?
I've recently come to terms that I haven't really been loving myself. It's been all about others, and I've dug myself into a rut, trying to be there for everyone else, or just trying to be a better person to everyone else instead of trying to be a better person for myself. So it put me in a dark spot where I didn't want to live anymore, because I gave my all to a lot of different things, people, and I lost a lot, and I just didn't want to live anymore.
How do you put yourself first, or how do you show yourself that you love yourself, or let yourself love yourself, you know? And I know you just started, right?
Yeah. I see my daughter. When I see my daughter, I realize that I have to be here. So in order for me to be here, I have to love myself. I have to put myself first and stop putting others first. Though others sometimes they do come first, like my daughter, I have to put her needs ahead of my own, but I still have to put myself in a position to make sure I'm healthy mentally and emotionally to be able to provide for her.
What's a good day look like for you?
A good day, waking up early, getting a nice workout in at the gym, cooking breakfast for my wife, feeding my daughter, being productive, like cleaning and taking care of some errands and stuff like that.
What's a bad day look like, and how do you get through that bad day?
A bad day, just waking up early in the morning from a nightmare or something, not being able to go back to sleep, very angry, like a rageful angry, and it takes me a while to get over bad days. It takes me a long time. It's very difficult.
How long is a long time?
Months to years. Sometimes a small event can stretch me, can depress me for a long time, and time will fly and I don't realize how much time has went by because I'm so much in the shell. I'm just taking it day by day, but I'm still holding on to that event.
Do you have any tools now, or learning any tools now to manage that, or to, letting go is art. It's not easy. It's not exactly like, hey, you do this, and boom, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a dance, if you will, right?
Yeah.
How's that process looking like for you?
Again, I had to speak. My dad put me in check a few times.
What did he tell you?
He told me don't let people bring me to the point of wanting to kill myself. Because being black, our history, like our people have been killed, murdered, raped for over 400 years. So don't let nobody cause you to take your own life, because I'm stronger than that. And it took me a while to learn that, but that's why I love my dad. He taught me a lot of valuable things, because I shouldn't let my weakness cause me to end my life.
What is that weakness? Per se.
Letting people get the best of me. Words, my pride, thinking I'm higher than what I am and I'm not. So when I get humbled, I shouldn't feel like I'm a bad person or I'm not worth anything.
How do you humble yourself?
Looking at other people's situations compared to mine. Like, it may be bad, but I've seen a lot worse, and I've experienced a lot worse myself. And I realize I'm not there anymore. So.
Keyword or key phrase, not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who got it better, a lot of people who got it worse, but that truth doesn't mean shit when you're in the dumps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very correct on that.
So how do you hold on to that perspective, knowing that, but still honoring how you're feeling, like not brushing aside how you're feeling, even though you know a lot of people have it worse, knowing that, and then still addressing your own issues.
That's a good one. I just gotta realize I gotta keep going, because if I keep worrying about other people, I'm gonna be stagnant.
Yeah.
And my stepdad once told me, he's like, if you worry about everybody else, if you don't worry about everybody else, you'll live longer.
Way longer.
Or if you worry about yourself, you'll live longer. So I had to take that into perspective.
What's a person or an event that shaped you, good or bad?
An event that shaped me in a bad way was getting kicked out of the Army.
You want to talk more about that?
Yeah. To sum it up, I joined at 17 back in 2013, and I ended up getting ready to deploy somewhere. We were staged in a certain country, preparing for that deployment, and these guys didn't like me because I just got off of an almost 10-month deployment about 3 months prior.
Where was that deployment?
It was Kosovo. It's pretty dope. But we were supposed to go to Iraq for this one, and we're in Kuwait. And they put me in charge of a certain amount of certain soldiers that they knew. They were trying to set me up, basically. That's what I was told. I don't even know why I didn't do any top secret stuff.
Yeah.
I got off that deployment, my 10-month deployment, get transferred to another unit. Immediately when I get there, I'm getting disrespected and cursed out. Keep in mind, I'm a sergeant. There's another sergeant that's talking to me like I'm new to the Army. I finished doing what I had to do, come back, and he's doing the same thing. And I confront him on it. Keep in mind, every person within a leadership position was in that room with us, and they didn't say anything to him. They didn't stop him. They just let him curse me out. And I got fed up. I got tired of biting my tongue, so I gave him some words of encouragement. I gave him that same energy back, and I ended up getting in trouble for it. Fast forward until we leave, I fly out to Kuwait. We're there, same stuff is going on. The same guy is trying to punish my soldier for something he didn't do. And I told my soldier, no, you work for me. If you did something wrong, I will punish you. That's how it works. And the guy got mad, stood up, got in my face. I asked him to back up. He didn't want to, so I pushed him with my left hand. He jumped back all dramatically, falling, and he tried to play victim after he was the aggressor. And he tried to tell on me. The next day, we had to speak to the platoon sergeant about it. I had witnesses. They told the same thing, which was the truth. He started it. I just pushed him away because he was in my face. He was to the point where I could feel his spit hitting my face. And they let it go. Verbal counseling on that. Follow on. I'll never forget the day. It was Nipsey Hussle died that day. We found out and we were talking about it. The platoon sergeant was mad and about something else, and he started going off on everyone for no reason. He sent all the lower enlisted guys to go eat breakfast after we did our morning PT session, and he asked all the sergeants, like, you got anything to say about everybody's performance or whatever, or the way they're behaving? And I was the only one to raise my hand on it. And I started telling them what was going on, why their morale was so low, why they didn't want to do anything, why they didn't trust opening up to people, because there was a lot of guys that were suicidal, dealing with stuff back home. And he told me, I can curse? Can I curse? Okay. He's like, Bell, shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're new here, because I was due to the unit. And I was like, well, I'm in a position I'm in now because these other guys are unable to be promoted. And you put me in this squad leader position, expect me to act like a squad leader. I'm looking out for these guys. You ask me what's wrong with it, and I'm telling you, you're cursing me out for telling you what's wrong. I'm answering your question. And I'm trying to express this to him. He keeps telling me, shut the fuck up. I was like, watch who the fuck you're talking to. Like, I didn't do anything to you. There's no reason for you to be cursing at me. And he tells me to leave. So I walk away to go eat with my guys. He tries to get me in trouble for that. Again, nothing happens. And then I had this guy, he was a corporal, he got promoted to sergeant. I'm a sergeant getting ready to get promoted to staff sergeant. So he's lower ranking than me, and he's telling all these guys in the platoon, in my squad, he's a team leader in my squad, one of the two team leaders, and he's telling the guys what he'd do to me, how he'd beat me up, how he'd be a better squad leader than me. He's feeling himself because he just got promoted. And me being me and the guys trusted me the way they did, they told me about it. So I chose to bring it up. We met up after lunch one day. I expressed to them, if you have something to say, let somebody know. Don't spread rumors about everybody. We're grown men. There's no reason for people to be gossiping like little girls. And I sent them away to finish their daily task, and I kept the other two team leaders. It's me and the two team leaders, and we're speaking, and I expressed to him, I was like, if you had an issue with me, just tell me. You have, when there's differences in the platoon or the squad or section or whatever, and you make the soldiers fight, you make them go to the boxing ring and fight. So if you felt that way about me, you could have just asked me to put on boxing gloves, we could fight. If you felt that way, I don't feel any way towards you, but if you feel that way towards me, just let me know. And he ran away, stormed off to make it seem like I was trying to beat him up. That's what he told our first sergeant. And that day I was pulled from my squad leader position and put under investigation for assault and some other stuff for those two other events I mentioned. And I was being mistreated. I wasn't allowed to seek legal guidance or counsel from JAG. And I was so frustrated, I punched the generator, broke my hand. And somebody said that I tried to point a knife at him, which didn't happen. And all these people did sworn statements against me because they didn't like me. I was told that they were trying to set me up by the supply sergeant. And I ended up getting sent back home because they said I was basically said I was cuckoo, suicidal ideation and stuff. So I get medevac back to the States. They tried to demote me, didn't have a case to demote me because it wasn't nothing serious, it was just an argument. Word got back that I didn't get demoted, and they were unhappy with that. So they pursued a chapter, which is a separation, or aka getting kicked out. So I found out eventually that I was being separated for misconduct in commission of a serious offense, and I didn't have enough time to prepare anything to get out, and I had to rush to get out basically, and I've been trying to catch up ever since. So yeah, that's it basically summed up, even though it's still long.
How was it's your career, right? It's your life.
Yeah.
And it's over.
That's all I knew.
And then it's,
yeah.
you don't know what's next. Like, you had no time to plan for it. You couldn't process it. It's just like, boom, here. That is tough. It's actually very tough. But you're still here. How long did that last? Like that depression, did it start before? Were you already in, and then that was like a trigger to a deeper fall? And then how was that climb out of it? Or that starting to climb out of it?
Yeah, I was depressed from getting transferred to the unit I was in. It was a very, to me, or as known around the Army, it's a very prestigious unit. Nothing special, but they're known for a battle in Afghanistan where they have 2 living Medal of Honor recipients, and I loved that unit. It built who I was as a man at the time. I was well known in that unit. It's nothing special, but I was just well known due to my performance. And leaving there over lies as well really messed up what I was doing, because I was trying to go Special Forces, and coming off of deployment, trying to decompress and try to do something I think be more valuable when I transitioned out, if I was to stay in. It delayed me, so I thought, okay, I'm getting pushed back again, so it depressed me. I was dealing with some stuff already, and I was getting put on antidepressants, and yeah, that just messed everything up. It ruined my life, and I haven't been able to really. Well, I'm just now really climbing up. Almost 3 years later, I chose to seek help through the VA. So I'm doing a little bit.
How is it? Would you say that you put a lot of your worth in your military service?
I feel like I put all of my worth into it.
And then you get separated, and then what you put your worth on isn't there anymore, right? So that's why I say it was tough. That's what I figured, just so you don't have an identity.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out, who am I? What am I, right? Without the military, they give you the badges. They tell you who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So who do you say that you are?
Since I've been getting help and I've realized who I am, I'm Darell Bell Jr., and I'm very proud of that. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, which I was embarrassed about, because there's really nothing that comes out of that city. But I'm a proud Arkansas native. I'm a proud son, a proud father, proud husband, combat veteran. Nothing special, but I'm proud of who I am as a man now, because I realized that wasn't me, and it took me some years to realize that.
What inspires you?
Myself, because I know I have a lot of potential, and I've seen myself do a lot of great things, and I know I'm capable of a lot more now.
What's been a humbling experience for you? Can you describe the feelings in that experience?
The main one is getting kicked out of the Army. And then the most recent is being fired from my last job. Uh, I was working transit security for RTD. I was at Union Station for almost 2 years. And I just came off of a situation on the train where it's a crazy use of force. I was looking out for some kids that were getting threatened of being shot, and it just escalated real bad. And I messed the guy up really bad, and I don't really remember that. So I was on unpaid suspension until Denver police and the DA finished their investigation. No criminal charges against me. The other guy got a lot of charges. I eventually get back to work, and not even a month later, I get another use of force. Homeless guy punches me. It's at the end of my shift. I'm technically off the clock. I beat him up, and though I didn't get any criminal charges against me, I get fired for two weeks unpaid suspension. Again, the money I did have saved up from the first one is basically gone. Credit cards damn near maxed out. And I got this situation again. And I was unemployed for 2.5 months. I'm just now slowly getting back together.
You know, you said that that first altercation you described on the RTD that you don't really remember. You don't think, does that scare you a little bit?
It did scare me because there was a news outlet. They wanted to get employees and former employees for transit security for RTD to talk about their experience because of how bad Union Station is now. It's been like that for a few years though. And I received a video. I explained my situation to this person, and I was given copies of the video. It was recorded, but it's still pretty clear. And I don't remember doing some of that stuff because of the heat of the moment. I just blacked out.
Was that one of the markers for you to get help, or did you start seeking help before then?
I tried to seek help before, but I always stopped myself for some reason.
What's the difference now?
I have a kid. Even though I was married, I felt like I was selfish, and I realized how much I've mistreated my wife with my neglecting her with how bad my emotions were. Even my in-laws and my parents, I just was too distant, and I wasn't that family man I was supposed to be. So I realized I needed to get that help.
So for this next question, go in your mind and think. This life event can be mental, physical, or spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about a time in your life that you can relate with the word war?
Yeah. It was earlier this year. After I got fired, I felt like I was hopeless. And I just didn't want to live anymore, especially after I applied to Arapahoe County Sheriff's, got denied, made it to the last portion of all the stuff I need to do, and got denied. And their policy is not to tell you why you got denied, and I was defeated. So I'm like, I can't provide for my family. I don't have any more money. My credit cards are maxed out. Somebody hacked my cards and was spending the little money I had left, so I had nothing. And I was just getting in the bathtub with my gun, and I just contemplated it for a month, every day when my wife and daughter was asleep. Yeah, that was that war I had with myself. That's what. And I'm still kind of fighting it, but I'm over. I'm over the suicidal part. I'm over that because I see my daughter. She's trying to walk now, and it's like I can't leave her without a father. I can't leave my wife with the burden of raising a child by herself, the financial burdens, and the heartache of everybody else. Because I've lost 2 friends to suicide. Really 3, but 2 I was really close to.
What do you say kept you from?
Kept me from doing it. My friends that I lost to it. I had a team leader, a sniper platoon sergeant I was real cool with in my old unit. Both of them were in it. We're all in the same unit. And one was in service and the other guy took his life outside of service. And I didn't find out until my birthday. He passed the month prior and I didn't find out until my birthday, which was a month later. And they ate me up.
You know, I feel that those mental wars, that the only way, and I can only speak for myself actually, I've had those mental wars, and it always seemed that the more I tried to fight it, the more I got beat down.
Yeah.
That the more I tried to think that I can do it on my own, or it's exhausting.
Mhm.
It's like a double negative.
Yeah.
I have found for myself that to win that war, I have to surrender on a daily basis. I know that I got my worth from external factors before, and once those factors went away, it was like, who am I to? And
Yeah.
all the external factors were based on my pride, really. Protect myself, really protecting all my old wounds that I never wanted anybody to see. And that's what I give up. Like, hey, if it takes me giving my pride for me to have life, I want to live. And, to wake up every day and, we all need that love to keep going. That love for you is the kid, the family, right? It's that feeling too, like that connection. And for me, I can't have that connection and I'm still human. I still go in my pride. Like, I'll be in here bumping hip hop before, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Turn all the way up.
Yeah, same way, man. I'm the same way.
But it's like keep it down to earth.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you're like, I'm no better than the person on the street corner right now. And once I have that levelness, it helps me move forward without so much weight on my shoulders. It's like, hey man, we're all on this same playing field. Like, I don't know what you're going through, you don't know what I'm going. If we just see each other walking by, right?
Yeah.
But we all got our shit going on.
100%.
So for the next question, go in your mind and think. This life event can be mental, physical, or spiritual. Can you tell us about a time that you can relate to the word peace?
This past 2 weeks, I've been at peace with myself. I surrendered. I got help. I stopped letting my pride take the best of me. That identity crisis I was dealing with. Not knowing who I was, really. And I'm not who I was at first. I'm not who I was earlier this year. I'm a totally different person now. I'm at peace.
How do you plan to have sustained peace in your life? like once you get help, like you have to, dude, like that shit never stops. You know, I started 3 years ago, and halfway through, I'm like, yo, how come I'm not healed all the way yet? Like, what's that look like for you, long term?
Remembering and not dwelling.
Mm.
Remember how I was and who I was mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And physically, because I used to be in better shape than I'm in now. And remembering how I am now. Earlier this year, I was dwelling on the past, and it caused me to want to end my life and leave my family to mourn for a long time. Now that I got help and I'm put my pride aside, and like you said, I surrendered. I remember how that feeling of that burden being lifted, or that cloud that I feel like was following me for so long, a little bit of sunshine that hit me. Remembering that, now I feel a lot better.
Can you tell us about a truly difficult time in your life, how it felt, how you endured?
I'm not gonna lie, I got a lot.
Yeah.
I got a lot, like too many. Too many. I just stay somewhat in the present. When I got fired, I just didn't give up. I got a wife and daughter. I got somewhat of a small support system. It's not the best. What is the best? I'm not even gonna say. I don't even know why I said that. I have one of the best support systems I never thought I would have. And I feel like I have taken it for granted, but I just didn't give up because I had people in my corner rooting for me, regardless of how bad I was doing, how many jobs didn't accept me, no matter how many interviews I went to and didn't get a conditional offer. I just didn't give up.
I know you said you have a lot of them, and I'm assuming those traumas and those difficult times go back into your life, into the present moment. And we don't need to go into those in detail, but do you have a general philosophy on how to approach that now, moving forward personally, and in conjunction with the help?
Yeah, I remember I stopped dwelling on the past, because that was where a lot of
when you remember, does it make you more grateful for the present moment, because you remember, like, damn, I was right there, and then it's not where you're at now?
Yeah, I definitely think about how much better off I am now, and realize that what I need to do to not be in that position again, or not to put my family in that position that I grew up in, or I've seen other people in those positions too.
Can you tell us about a truly joyous moment in your life, how it felt and how you overcame it?
Becoming a father almost a year ago, and it was one of the best days of my life. That was a humbling experience. Holding my child made me realize that life is real.
How'd that feel when you held your child briefly?
It was
wonderful.
It was wonderful. That was priceless.
Yeah.
Could never get that time back again.
Is that part of what keeps you, part of that joy in your life?
It keeps me alive.
What keeps you up at night?
Dwelling on the past, because I know where I'm supposed to be, or where I could have been, and I was trying to make a career out of something that I gave my life to, and losing that not being able to use my college benefits, so I'm stuck doing security. It bothers me. So that's all I think about. What is going to be the next move? How can I do something that's going to allow me to get ahead financially, keep my car fixed, and put money away for emergencies? I'm always thinking about something that has to do with money mainly.
What keeps you going every day?
My family. I have to be a provider. I have to show that I'm a father now, so I have to show that I have to get after it. To show her that I have to get in a position where she doesn't have to live the way I lived.
How do you do that without breaking under the pressure? How do you do that peacefully? How do you do that, moving forward, but with the positive emotional mental state? Like, how's that look like for you? How can that potentially look like for you?
For me, I've went back to my old roots, and that was just going back to having faith in God. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I've seen firsthand how real God is. And a lot of people have their opinions on it, but I've seen a lot of miracles. I'm still alive. I've dodged death a lot of times, and He showed me how real He was. And me coming around and keeping faith and regaining that faith is keeping me where I need to be, on the right path.
I want to know about one of those miracles. I want to hear one. One, you're alive. You're the miracle, right? If you need another, how many more miracles do we need? Right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna do 2 life and death ones.
Yeah.
The first one is when I got stabbed. My brother was dating this chick. She had all these kids. They were having a disagreement about something. I don't know the specifics of. Her oldest son called, and he heard my brother still going on about whatever the situation was. They ended up coming over. Her oldest 2 children and one of their friends came over, so three guys. Long story short, they busted in the door and jumped my brother, beat him up pretty bad. He had to spend 3 nights in jail for something he didn't even provoke, during Christmas too. January comes around, so it's December 2014 is when it all started. January 2015, second oldest son, there's like this restraining order that the city put in place, and he has to get his belongings from my brother's apartment that he's sharing with the younger guy's mother, and he tries to start a fight. It ends up leading to the parking lot, and he wants to fight me, and we end up fighting. He goes into his grandmother's car, grabs a knife, and stabs me twice, and I didn't know. But when it hit my ribs, the blade broke. It's a pretty decent blade, it was a pocket knife. It broke, and he looked at his hand. I thought he punched me. He looked at his hand and took off running. Dropped the knife, took off running. My brother tried to pull me back, but I was too much. I had tunnel vision. And the guy runs. My brother chases him, and his brother chases my brother. And I just start feeling this warm feeling rushing down my side. I had a hoodie on. I lifted it up, didn't see anything, and I keep feeling it. And I lifted it up again higher, and there's just blood just pouring out the side of me. And I didn't feel any wind, so every time I inhaled, I felt air on my fingers. I was like, oh, he punctured a lung. So this is what I'm thinking. And a nurse happens to be coming by, and she puts a chest seal on me. And we get to the hospital, and we go through all these scans and stuff. The doctor eventually comes in, and he's like, tries to ease up the mood, and he's like, "Oh, I see how you're in the army and stuff." Because I was a year and a half in. He's like, "You got a lot of abdominal muscle." So yeah, I like try to stay in shape. And he mentions that, well, if you didn't have that, you'd be dead right now. From the time I called 911 to the time I got to the hospital, I should have been dead. From the amount of blood I lost and to where I was stabbed. And miraculously, I didn't need any surgery. And then the next time, the second event was I was in Kosovo. A lot of people don't have this experience, but we had a lot of stuff going on this deployment specifically. And we were getting a recognition for doing more missions than guys in Afghanistan. And having a higher threat level as well, without all of the assets, because that's where everything is, Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and stuff. I was punished for something I didn't do. I don't really want to talk about that. That led to me getting kicked out, long story short. But I'm helping this platoon with a guard shift, and I'm going to take a guy radio battery, because his battery was dying. And I'm thinking some guys was walking by within a unit, and they were outside of the fence. I don't know, the lights were weird that night. My depth perception was off. They were on the other side of the fence. I thought they were on the inside of the fence. I just saw like the two silhouettes. It was a fat ass machine gun burst, and they just walked past me. And I shot back twice and ran to the dude's tower, because he was right there. He was scared. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know where the guys went. And yeah.
So you said the faith in general and something greater, and what I believe to be the creator, right? I don't know about you, but how do you feed that? How do you feed your faith for the sustain, right? The journey, like, of the ups and downs, like, the humility of knowing that we can get knocked down so low, but then also the strength that comes from knowing that you can get back up from that, and that you don't want to go back to that because you know how it feels, but like you've made it through that, and what else can you make it through, right? Like,
yeah.
And especially if you have the belief that God is with you at the end of the day, and that things will work out eventually, and you keep pushing forward, like, that's what helps me too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, so that's what keeps me going. But I also consciously every day acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do what works for me, what that acknowledgement looks like for me. So I write, and what do you do to have that sustained, spiritual backbone, literally to.
I grew up Southern Baptist, and they're really into fasting and just Christians in general. I don't really follow the religious part. I'm more into the spiritual part, which my mom, we fell off from the religion part of it, and she always taught me that religion isn't going to get you to God. It's the relationship with Him. And everybody has their interpretation on things, and my interpretation is walking and talking like Jesus would have. He's went through a lot. It's all throughout the Bible, the stuff He's went through. So if I gotta live life like Him and just take on and know that God put me here for a reason, understand that reason why I'm here, that I'm gonna keep making it by no matter how hard the situation gets. And it's proven itself time and time again. Whether it was some type of financial issues and I owed somebody and they still wanted to help me out, like my father-in-law. I owe that man so much money, but he continues to show up and show out, just like God would, just like a lot of people say God would. My dad even helped me out, and I would never ask, but it was just put on their heart, and I feel like it was me. I just feel like God put that on their spirit, whether they thought that or not. I feel like God put that in their spirit to help me out, because the way I walk with him throughout the days.
Imagine you're in the hospital today with only hours to live. What would be your regrets, if any?
Not trying hard enough, not giving my all, and just regretting not trying things I feel like I should try. Whether it's trying fixing my discharge to get back in to finish unfinished business, or it's try to become a pilot like I want, try to become a nurse like I also want. It's not trying to do one of those things. A lot of people fail if you don't try. It's when you won't know until you fail it.
Do you feel that you can make amends with those regrets you just said, or be at peace with them, or change any of them just moving forward?
Yes, one of them is mainly the returning back to service. I've come to terms that it probably wasn't for me. It probably wasn't meant. A lot of things, I've dodged a lot of stuff that I feel like wasn't meant for me to be around. And I feel like I was forced out for a reason, and and I can't get back in for a reason. That's above anything I can comprehend. So I feel like that's why I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with.
So you told me what your dreams were as a kid, and you fulfilled that dream, and you had that experience. Wasn't up to par. What are your dreams now?
It was not up to par for my time in service. I missed out on a lot, and that's another issue with the identity. I didn't get what I really joined for.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's just following those other goals. I served in the armed forces. That's a check off the box. And the next thing is either aviation or something in the medical field.
When you dreamed as a kid, right, of being in the military, and then obviously we have the expectations of how it's going to feel and that it's going to be out of this world, and then reality hits, and it's not exactly what we imagine. What does fulfilling your dreams, what do you imagine that feels like now?
I'm where I want to be financially. My family knows that I've made it where I needed to be. I'm happy. My family's happy. And I'm taken care of financially, spiritually, and emotionally. So I don't have to worry about anything.
Do you feel that you can be happy in the process of attaining those things?
Yes. Because if you don't try, you won't know.
You're the co-author of your life story. What's your picture perfect ending? And it's not the end of your life. It's just if it were a movie or a book, almost like what's that fairy tale ending look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm still married. I probably have another kid, and they're all successful, probably in school or something, or have graduated school. I'm where I want to be in the career that I chose to pick and stick with. My wife is happy, so is my family. That's all I really want.